What's happening, guys? Martin is back again. So let's get into it. In respect of buying Zara fragrances, 2024, would I buy any? And the answer is no. For these reasons, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I would avoid, in this point in time, buying Zara fragrances. Now, number one. This is how they get you. Number one is the price. Now, you could smell a fragrance, and it's going to link into another point, but you could smell a fragrance in a shop. Let's say you go to Boots, Selfridges, whatever else like that. You go and buy, I'm just going to use one that I've got close to hand. Something like this. This is Le Mal, Ultra Mal, Jean Paul Gaultier. This, I think, is 120 mil. 125 mil, so obviously it's going to run you a little bit more than the standard one, but I enjoy this fragrance, so I had this one for a while. I keep it on deck. It's useful for summer and everything else like that. That being said, you could buy this online. Let's say you buy this one online for, say, £60. You go to the shop, depending on the size and everything else like that, you may pay a little bit more in the shop. So ideally now, it's about buying fragrances online. That's my opinion. If you're going to buy a fragrance. I'm not buying fragrances, but that's just my opinion. Sound like Alex Becker. Anyway, let's get into it. So, you go to Zara now, you look at the price and you say to yourself, the price of this is actually a bit cheaper. That's not bad. I've just bought some clothes. Let me go and get something else. So now you bought some clothes. Let's say you bought a t-shirt. Let's say you bought a jumper for £30. Then you buy this fragrance now. Price of the fragrance is now not necessarily the bare minimum, maybe £10, £12 or so, you know, give or take. Price has gone up to nearly £30. Easy for a fragrance. So that £30, not being funny, you just spent £30 on the fragrance in addition to buying the clothes. They got you. They got your cash. But if you said to yourself, I'm going to make a decision here. I'm either going to get not a high quality, or get the original version of the fragrance. Maybe I can only buy the 50 mil. But if I add another £20 to that and make it £50, I can go and get the original fragrance. Which one do you want to do? So that's number one, price point, which I believe is how they get you. Undercut the price from the actual original one, because again, technically it's like a clone, you could say, to some extent. But that being said, you're still paying to some extent for what you're paying for. I don't think it's value for money anymore. Compared to when I originally started reviewing things, compared to now, the quality of it, again, this is point number 2, quality of the fragrances have reduced. So the price, yes, may be cheaper, but that's the mistake I think people make. The quality of it is not there. Honestly, when I smelled some of the fragrances when I was there most recently, the level of, how could I say, alcohol seems very prominent. And if you're smelling a fragrance and it's well made, you really shouldn't smell so much alcohol. On top of that, a lot of them smell like skin scents. So if you go in now, you smell it, you're in the store, in that moment, you've got your clothes in your hand, you're in the queue, you pick up on whatever else you want to try, bam, 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 smells nice, I'll take this one with me. You've not really had the opportunity to see how that fragrance develops, see how that fragrance moves on your skin, see if it's worthwhile to keep in the long term. But in that moment, instant gratification is how they get you. And they make sure now, the way it seems to be, is that the fragrances are literally as you go to the till. So that's how they get you. So the price was number 1. I don't know what's happening with this camera. So the price was number 1. We've got quality number 2, which again, the quality is not like it used to be, in my opinion. The quality has gone down, or it may just mean that I'm maybe more focused on a particular type of fragrance, or not say higher quality, but less synthetically smelling fragrances than this particular one. So that's number 2. And number 3, the final point I want to say, is choice. Now, choice isn't necessarily a bad thing. If the choice increases, move this camera again. If the choice increases and you're at a point now where you're basically like, you know, I've got so much to choose from, what do I do? You could do one of 2 things. You could maybe overly purchase fragrances. So then again, we talked about this before, you pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over the course of time. You don't realize it. Next thing you know, you spent nearly £100 on fragrances, and you're hardly even using them, and you got 100 ml bottles. That's number 1. But also number 2, when there's that amount of choice, that also says to me, you got a question to yourself, how much time are they putting into these fragrances? These are quick pick up and go fragrances, but they're not necessarily good quality fragrances. So when you've got so much choice like that, if you had less choice, you'd find something that you'd be happy with. When you've got a lot of choice, it's like television. We have like 100 channels on television, there's nothing on. But when you've only got, let's say you've only got 20 channels, you'll find something. Even 10 channels, you'll find something. So I think the point I'm trying to say is, for me, these fragrances aren't worth it anymore. And I'd highly recommend anyone who's into the fragrance game, not to purchase these fragrances. That's my personal opinion. I'm not going to point out one specifically or not. The fragrances I used to like aren't necessarily even there anymore. They don't necessarily produce them. And the ones they do produce, which seems to be similar to what they used to have, the quality is just not there anyway. So I won't be purchasing any fragrances, let alone from Zara. And my advice to you guys would be to save your money, focus on other things, focus on making money, and stay away from wasting your money on these things. See you next video, guys. Please leave your comments down below. Peace.